What's up, Rotogrinders? Welcome to another edition of FanDuel sponsored Crunch Time. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich, joined by my guy on the weekends, Taylor Smith. How you doing?
I'm good. Different slates for different sites, but should be fun as always. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. Is your upper lip starting to get a little cold yet? I see you got something there, but it's not as big and juicy as the mustache we had last weekend.
Yeah, it was getting kind of long, kind of to the point where it gets in your mouth all the time, so I had to trim it down a little bit.
Makes sense. We got, like you said, different slates on the two sites. It's 6 games on DraftKings, 7 on FanDuel today. What's the are you finding yourself with lineups having a big difference between the two? How much does the Clippers and Lakers really change your build today?
Not a ton overall. I'm interested in that game kind of as a tournament stack, just because it potentially should be close, and obviously a lot of high upside kind of pieces in that one. But for cash and single entry kind of stuff, it's really just Austin Reeves that's popping into stuff on FanDuel for 7,600. But overall, not really a huge difference.
All right, well, let's start diving into it. We'll start with FanDuel because Crunch Time is presented by FanDuel. Bet $5 in any money line, get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. For new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And you can, if you're also playing some NFL tonight, check out Sim Labs because we got one of the most exciting showdown slates of the entire season. Winner take all for the AFC East between the Dolphins and the Bills, and you can use Sim Labs to generate DFS lineups through the power of simulation. It combines data from every aspect of the slate to turn out lineups that match your preferences in just a few clicks. You can have hundreds of well-built correlated lineups ready to go for whatever contest type you're playing. Be sure to check out the link in our description for more info. All Combo and NFL Premium subscribers have access to the NFL Sim Labs tool. And I also wrote up a nice Prize Picks article today because there are lots of different props and pick'em plays that are really good for the night game. So get access to the Rotogrinders all-new props and pick'em package driven by the Rotogrinders premium projections. Our tool combed through the market for your favorite sports books and fantasy pick'em sites to find you the best bet. Best picks at the best odds, and you can get that as well at the link in the description, so make sure you check that out. You, my friend, were on core plays today, so start me off with a cash game build. You got Paolo Banchero tagged, Brandon Ingram tagged. Of course, Zion Williamson is going to be out for this one. Let's do a little bit of a slate over. Actually, no, let's just go straight into the position by position because we do have a bit of a shorter show today.
Yeah, the Zion news is the big one we've gotten so far, but there is still some stuff we're waiting on. For now, Banchero and Ingram are easy plays at the forward spots. No Franz Wagner, the Mag. That's a big usage for Paolo. He's expensive, but they're playing Atlanta, so maybe he's not expensive enough for that role. And then Ingram and CJ always get big usage boosts without Zion. Playing Sacramento, both these games start at the top of the hour, so pretty easy plug and plays right there, and don't worry about them. I think in tournaments they're also great, of course. As far as point guard goes, Dyson Daniels, I don't know if we've gotten a lineup there for the Pelicans yet, but we have him projected to start with Zion out with Trey Murphy on a minutes limit. We'll see what happens with that, but he is only 43 on FanDuel. High total game against the Kings here. I think he's a pretty good value in all formats. Even if he's not the greatest per minute guy, I think for cash, that's completely fine. Steph Curry for 8,700. Chris Paul is out for Golden State. Draymond is still out. Kuminga's questionable. He should see plenty of minutes. That Toronto Golden State game, I think in general, is pretty interesting. A pretty high total, pretty tight spread. Curry is a really good value for 87 on FanDuel. Jalen Suggs I had tagged earlier. I don't think he's a must anymore, but still should see a lot of minutes with Fultz in, but Fultz is only going to play like 10 to 12 minutes off the bench. So Not too concerned about that. He gets a nice boost with Wagner out as well for 300. I think he's good in cash. CJ McCollum for the same reason. Brandon Ingram looks good. Herb Jones for 5.5. Again, the Pelicans are shorthanded. He should get plenty of playing time. He always does. Not the greatest permanent guy, but he is cheap, and the matchup is good. Austin Reeves is starting for the Lakers these days. 7,600 is a lot for him, but good role. Russell's questionable. LeBron's questionable. There's a chance he'll be shorthanded. I think he's a really good value, either shooting guard or small forward. Pajemski should start for Golden State with Paul out. He looks good at 63 on both sites. Very easy value for all formats. Chuma Okiki, power forward only, but 4K flat. Should start with Franz out for the Magic. He played, I think, 27 or 28 minutes the other night in that same situation. Just because we're kind of lacking punt value, he's kind of popping as the main kind of cash punt at this point. In tournaments, if you want to go underweight on a 61% owned Chuma Okeke, I think that's completely understandable. And at center, Goga, Wendell Carter's out. Goga's been starting anyway. Should see plenty of minutes for the Magic. I think he's a very easy cash play at 58.
It's a pretty easy cash build on FanDuel, considering, especially if we get Dyson Daniels here in the starting lineup. You plug in Daniels, McCollum, Banchero, Ingram, Okiki, and Batatse, all like your three Magic players, your three Orlando players, and all you have left is 3 spots left to fill with a nice amount of salary to do basically whatever you want with these last 3 positions. 68, 67 remaining for these last 3 spots. So I'm going to leave this lineup build here up on the side of the screen while we go through some tournament builds here. I'm not playing on FanDuel today. Personally, I'm not playing on DraftKings today either with so much football stuff going on. I saved it exclusively for that. But if I were, obviously this Dallas news is big time that we're going to have to wait on still. It's a tough matchup against Minnesota, but with Luka Doncic questionable, potentially opens up the Kyrie Irvings and a lot of value on that side of things. Emmanuel Quickly is a guy I absolutely love in tournaments, 5% owned. Second last game of the night here on FanDuel. I don't really get why he's so low owned. The price is high, but he's just been absolutely crushing since he got to Toronto. So Emmanuel Quickly is one of my favorite tournament guards on the slate. Another guy I love, De'Aaron Fox, sub 10% ownership, below 10K. I think he makes a great pivot. It's a little more expensive, but I think he makes for a great pivot off of Steph Curry today. Other guards that I'm liking, I don't mind some Anthony Edwards, but I think I like De'Aaron Fox better at the guard position outside, and then Emmanuel Quickly. Like, these are really the only guys I'm looking to heavily differentiate on. I do love all the New Orleans chalk. I love all the Orlando chalk. So Quickly and Fox are really the 2 guys that I'm looking to get most different with in tournaments. They are 2 of my favorite plays on the slate. Going over to the forward position, Domantas Sabonis. If I'm not playing Fox, I want to play Sabonis. Sacramento has one of the highest totals on the slate. It's a great matchup against New Orleans. Both of their studs are single-digit ownership. Fox and Sabonis, 2 of my top tournament plays on the slate here. Karl Anthony Towns is the better on DraftKings, but still I find him a little bit underpriced here on FanDuel. I like him quite a bit for tournaments. And then at the center position, Goga is the optimal play. He's definitely the top option here. If you're looking to get a little bit different in tournaments, I don't mind Ivica Zubac at this spot. Jonas Valanciunas, I think, is somewhat interesting. Dario Saric is a value play either here or at the power forward position. I like quite a bit as well. Let's pivot over here to DraftKings. Still got lots of time. We got 19 minutes to lock. Make sure you're smashing that like button for us. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you're subscribed to the Rotogrinders YouTube page as well. We're giving some free content here on a Sunday. We want to be making sure we can give as many shows as possible. So that means it's a Sunday. There's basketball we want to give a basketball show. And in order to make sure we can keep doing that, we need people to smash the like button. So almost 300 of you watching. Let's get us up over 100 likes. Please and thank you. It does wonders for us here at the company. And it also makes sure you get as many shows as possible as well. Starting here on DraftKings Cash, Taylor, you got Banchero and Ingram tag just like you do over on FanDuel. How does the DraftKings Cash build differ?
So we have some Minnesota value. Mike Conley for 5-4, I think, is a good cash play against Dallas. That's a good matchup for Minnesota. In tournaments, I have 0 of him. That's a full fade. I don't want to play a chalky Mike Conley. But for cash, completely
quick, I'll say Dyson Daniels is not starting. It is Trey Murphy.
Okay, I think we did get word that Murphy's still supposedly going to be limited to 20 to 25 minutes. We'll see if that holds. So I think that does take Daniels out of play, maybe for cash. And if you want, I think it's better just to wait on the news anyway. We have Durant and Luka and LeBron and John Morant all questionable. There is a good chance, at least one of them maybe will sit. So waiting on better value, I think, makes a lot of sense instead of punting on an early Dyson Daniels off the bench. So I don't think that really puts Trey Murphy in play. He does have a ceiling, I guess, for a tournament, but if he's going to be popular on a minutes limit, that's not something I'm super enthused about. Mike Conley at point guard was the one that kind of stands out most. Anthony Edwards has point guard eligibility on DK. He looks really good against the Mavs for under 9K. Killian Hayes is popping into optimals because he's 3,300, but they're playing Denver. He's projected for under 14 fantasy points. I will not be doing that in any format, especially if he's going to be catching ownership, just because he's a punt. If you want to talk yourself into the blowout angle, they are like 16.5 point underdogs. I get it, but if he's popular, I see no reason to play Killian Hayes on this slate. Shooting guard Brandon Ingram tagged as a core play, very obvious as Zion is out for them. Edwards, Steph Curry, you can play at either shooting guard or point guard. Trey Murphy, maybe fringy. Like I said, not really down to do that. Small forward Jaden McDaniels is another cheapie over here from Minnesota, 4,500. Starting for them, decent minutes against the Mavs. It's a good matchup. If Lucas sits, I guess there is blowout risk, but Minnesota should be on the winning side of that if that happens. Either way, I think he looks good in cash. Andrew Wiggins is a decent play for 9. Kuminga also questionable for them. So if Kuminga sits, then potentially wins inch closer to 30 minutes, even if he doesn't start. I think he's a good play regardless, just because of the salary and the game environment against Toronto. Power forward, Banchero, core play. Karl Anthony Towns, like you said, 7,400. Great price, great matchup. Minnesota against Dallas. Like the Dallas front court without Lively is just going to get overwhelmed against anyone, especially a team with size like the T-Wolves. I think Towns is a really easy cash play and like a borderline core play.
This is the first time, obviously, like these guys have pretty negative RG values here, but this is one of the first times in a while that I actually feel like there's, especially on a smaller slate, like there's a lot of really good value for the power forward position. It's usually one of the weaker positions, but Banchero's in the best possible spot. Towns is $1,000 too cheap. Okiki's one of the best values on the slate. Marshall's one of the best values on the slate. Saric is even one of the best values on the slate. Naz Reid is a great tournament play. Sadiq Bey might be a little too underpriced. Wiggins is here. Kuminga is here if he plays. This is like Herb Jones has power forward eligibility. This is a really strong position today.
Yeah, I think if you want to talk yourself out of Jaden McDaniels occupying one of those spots, I understand that, just because there is so much strength there. Even Aaron Gordon maybe for 64 is in play against the Pistons. Pascal Siakam, if you have money to spend, looks decent against Golden State. There is a lot, and Dario, I think, is the one that will really pop if Kuminga sits. He and Wiggins should both get a bump. So I don't mind building, with later guys in your lineup and kind of waiting on news and pivoting from there instead of cramming all these early guys in. I do okay. is the one like kind of early value guy that you probably just plug in cash lineups. So you're like if you were playing play OP in tournaments, or would you?
I probably wouldn't I wouldn't X him out by any means, but I would probably make a rule that maybe I don't play him with Banchero, or I just like I set my limit here for this team. Like it's such a good spot that I want Orlando exposure, but I think maybe I would set like a rule that I'd want like a max one of Caleb Houston, Chuma Okeke, and Paolo Banchero, because only one of them gets a ceiling game. I think that's probably how I'd handle it.
Yeah, with Okeke and Paolo and Goga all being quite popular. Maybe
I think like
a max.
Straight up, just like going Caleb Houston instead of Chuma Okeke, I think is a fantastic straight line pivot.
Yeah, he's starting, I think, as well. Yeah. It's not like Chuma's a really good per minute guy either, so don't really think you're whiffing on a huge ceiling if you fade Chuma Okeke on the slate.
I agree with you there.
Gobert looks good in tournaments too for 7K center only. Should be quite a bit less popular than Towns, I would think, and pretty natural leverage there with Gobert.
With how many great power forwards there are here that also have center eligibility, how are you kind of handling this for cash? Are you saying like, I want Goga, I want Chuma, and I want Towns? Like, how are you handling this group here for cash games?
I think that is what you do. Paolo and Towns you feel good about no matter what, I think. There's an argument to fade Goga just because center is center and there are always good options here. But this particular slate, there's not really a lot of cheap center value. And he's kind of the one that pops the most. I think the Chuma fade is fine even in cash, just because there's a chance we get maybe like Josh Green or Grant Williams or someone like that in the Dallas game that might look a bit better. Of course, there's a chance that doesn't happen, but I'm more inclined to play Goga and fade Chuma than vice versa.
Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. I usually only ever do this with centers, but I might make a rule that like if I was running MME here, I'd go build rules for my utility exposure. I feel like I might just go like this and make it so that I can only play power forwards and centers at the utility position because of how strong those spots are today. Some tournament pivots that I really like. I agree. I would fully fade somebody like a Mike Conley at 36% for tournaments. That would just be a complete X out for me. Emmanuel Quickly, probably my favorite tournament play here at the position, but also same as I mentioned on FanDuel, De'Aaron Fox, 6%, amazing spots against New Orleans. 9,400 is not very expensive. Absolutely love me some De'Aaron Fox today. Shooting guard position, again, Emmanuel Quickly, really like him today. That would be like if I was single entrying, that would absolutely be the main guy I'd be going with today. But I don't think it's crazy to take a shot on somebody like a Bradley Beal for tournaments today. I think that is somewhat reasonable as well. Brandon Podziemski, I don't mind, but outside of those guys, it's really just the chalk plays I like there at the small forward position. A lot of the same at small forward, at the shooting guard position. A lot of the same, though, at small forward. I like Herbert Jones as a value play for tournaments quite a bit, coming in at single-digit ownership. Not at a very strong position. That's one of the reasons why I would do this. My utility has to come from the power forward or the center, because this really is not like the shooting guard and small forward really aren't as nice as we're used to them seeing here. It's a different story because these top 5 guys we got here, love all of them. Naz Reid, I think he's great for tournaments. Aaron Gordon is in play. Andrew Wiggins is in play, but play him at small forward because it's a weaker position. Same with a Michael Porter Jr. You want to get him at 1%? I'm all good with that in tournaments. Play him at the small forward position. It is way, way weaker. Center, Goga's great. I wouldn't play Chuma here. I wouldn't waste my center position on Chuma, but Goga I'd be fine with. Towns I'm fine with using there. If I land on Saric because we get all of these guys out later in the day, I'm fine with that. I wouldn't make him a priority to use at center. But if we do get those guys out, I would be fine with landing on him there. Nurkic is another guy I don't mind, especially if we happen to get Durant out here. And then Jonas Valanciunas, one other guy I'd look to take shots on in tournaments. But my favorite, Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis and Fox. Throw in Emmanuel quickly. Those are my favorite tournament plays on the slates, bar none. Taking some QQs here. I'm going to the Rotogrinders Discord first. Then I will go to the YouTube chat. We are 8 minutes away from lock. Make sure you get your lineups in here. And make sure as well you are smashing that like button for us. Come on, let's get these up here. 45, that's nowhere near enough. Let's get this up over 75 before the end of the show here. Come on, squad. We got this. I believe in you. Hit the like button. Rotogrinders Discord here first. Favorite low-owned stud for a single entry on FanDuel. Who would it be for you? For me, I think it's Domantas Sabonis.
Let's see, FanDuel. I don't mind that call at all. He's been crushing, and he's not as expensive as he should be. I think I'll side with Anthony Edwards, though. 9,300, 13% ownership. I'll go with Ant Edwards on that one.
DK GPP need a utility position, $4,400 or less. So that means no Saric, no Okiki. Those guys are just above. I think my answer would probably be Najee Marshall. How about you?
Najee Marshall is probably the one. I'm just checking to see if there's anyone else that maybe will pop. Suppose you could say Looney for 4K, but who knows what's happening with his minutes and if he'll even start. So it's probably Najee.
Large field tournaments, I'd say even maybe take a shot on Peyton Watson at 4,400. We're projecting 20 minutes off the bench, but if they blow out Detroit, he could play 28 and absolutely smash.
Christian Brown, too. Same argument for 4K. I think that's fine, even though Watson's probably a better per minute guy.
Pivoting over to the YouTube chat, Jaden Ivey at 5.8 on FanDuel as a last piece. What do you think about that?
Don't love it, just because the Pistons are huge underdogs and they're the Pistons. I assume that was for tournaments. I don't know if he said, but Herb Jones is 5'5". I think I'd rather get to him in that range.
What do you think about Reggie Jackson? What do you think about Reggie Jackson and Larry Nance as value on FanDuel? Luka Doncic will play.
I think that's good. I think Nance is interesting because he's been getting minutes off the bench either way. Reggie is like a pure blowout type of large field kind of play. I get it, but don't love it.
I was torn between Dontavian Wicks and Khalil Herbert or Jordan Mason and Jaden Reed, and Wicks has 2 touchdowns already. I made the wrong choice. Ugh. Austin Reeves or Jalen Johnson in a FanDuel GPP.
I think Reeves will be a lot more popular, so Johnson probably.
If D'Angelo Russell is out, though, I think you just bite the bullets and play Reeves regardless, even with that ownership. I think he's just in a better spot. But if not, I kind of agree there. Pirtle, is he viable in a FanDuel tournament?
He is. I just worry that the Golden State game could go small and he could just get played off the floor. But not a bad price tag on him.
Derek Lively ruled out. Markieff Morris and Rashawn Holmes are both available to play. Do you think we can play Norm Powell on FanDuel?
I hadn't considered that. He is 5'3". It's not the worst thing. But hopefully you could find something better because he's off the bench and they're fully healthy.
Quickly or Klay Thompson, my friend, that is quickly by so much. Get Emmanuel Quickly in there. Nas Reed or Andrew Wiggins in a DK GPP?
Let's see. I think my lean was Reed just because I think Wiggins will be popular. Let me confirm that. Wiggins 11%, Reed 19. So I was wrong. Yeah, Wiggins, I guess, if you want to wait on the news, he gets a boost if Kuminga would sit.
Luka or Jokic in GPPs?
Luka, just because I think the Nuggets game is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I agree with that one as well. 2 minutes to lock. Smash that like button. If we don't have any questions, we'll get out of here a little bit early. But if you do got some last minute questions, get them in because we do got 2 minutes here left until lock. If not, make sure you smash that like button on the way out. Subscribe, hit the notification bell because, like I said, we will be on breaking down the NFL Showdown slate as well. Myself and Chief talking some Sunday Night Football, a little Bills, a little bit of Dolphins. Winner takes the AFC East division. Should be a really fun game. I am not seeing any other cute cues come in here. So, Taylor, do you got anything else for the people before we get out of here?
No, I'm glad you quick to see my conviction play on the expert survey. So, all aboard the Quickly bandwagon tonight.
All right, Emmanuel Quickly, and then get at least one of Fox or Sabonis in your tournament lineups. You're going to be cooking today, mixing some of the good chalk with there as well. Break the slate FanDuel play. It's Domantas Sabonis. That's the guy. Domantas Sabonis is breaking the FanDuel slate today. And Emmanuel Quickly will be your best tournament play. Jaden Hardy, question mark before we get out of here. No, you're not playing Jaden Hardy because Luka Doncic is in. He'd have been a fringe value if he was out, and he is a definite no play against Minnesota with Luka Doncic in. That'll do it for FanDuel sponsored NBA Crunch Time. Like I mentioned, I will be back with Chief talking NFL in an hour and a half. So make sure you tune in for that one. On behalf of myself, TJ Zwarich, Taylor Smith, aka at Tay Bojangles on Twitter. I love saying your Twitter name. It makes my heart smile. Ghost Mantis asking about Jaden McDaniels. Yeah, Jaden McDaniels might be somewhat chalky, but he's a great play today, especially now that Luka's in. That's going to be the guy that's guarding Luka the entirety of the time that he's out there. So he might get some extended minutes today as well, as long as he can stay outside of foul trouble. On behalf of myself, Taylor, Steve behind the scenes, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We will see you later. Peace.